Hello folks, welcome back to the channel, where today we are jumping into our first of our post-season event here. Tweakin joining me today for what is going to be the Raka Rumble. Tweakin, how excited are you for the Raka Rumble? How
I
excited?
love it. I'm super excited. It's like the pregame to the party. This is where you get the most drunk and have the most fun. And then when it's all said and done, it's not over. You
Oh,
still have the main event.
of course.
And that's where we are right here.
So, just going to break this down for folks who may not be aware of what is actually going on inside of our Raka Rumble event. Basically, what we decided to do here is give a chance to our bottom of the leaderboards. We ended sort of our regular season with our last casting conflict in May, and so now we're giving players the opportunity who may not have succeeded in getting that securing their playoff spot. They now have an opportunity to do so in this event here. And it is going to be best of one. It is sort of a, pure adrenaline. Hopefully you can win, 2-1 game to get to that spot here. It's going to be wild. It's going to be absolutely wild here. And starting us off, we've got Jump versus Helios, as well as Astray v Bolas. The winners of those will take on Jay and Vesa respectively, moving on into the finals, where technically both finalists will be entered into the playoffs. However, whoever wins that match will come out with some better seeding for the actual playoffs bracket here. But going back to the first matchup, Jump versus Helios here. Tweakin, what are your predictions going into it? I mean, Jump's been pretty strong with that green-white here, but Helios has decided to bounce back recently with some last will shenanigans in red-yellow. What are we thinking about that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, in this format, it's kind of hard to predict because, like you've already mentioned, it's kind of a one and done. So, really, your record and how you played throughout the season, it kind of just like goes out the window now, because
Mm-hmm.
now it's a grudge match. If you brick here, there's no, okay, well, I can win the next two games and win the set. You brick, your season's over. So you might make some changes within your deck, and kind of maybe play a little early and mid to make sure you don't brick. But man, it's tough. I want to, and just in this overall playoff spot, I want to give the advantage to the higher seeding players.
Yeah.
It seems like they kind of know what their deck is about. They've made quote unquote better, more consistent decks than our lower ranking members. Um, so in this match, I'm gonna give the advantage to Jump. Um, but like I said, anything can happen. Anyone can brick.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's gonna,
pumped.
it's gonna be wild here, but I mean, with that being said, let's not delay any further. Let's go ahead and get into the first matchup. Jump v Helios coming at you guys right now.
Rumble, baby.
All right, well, there we go. Rock and Rumble match number one. As Tweak can kind of listen. I opened the recording of like Rumble, so I missed like the first half of that. Tweak, give me that same energy. Give me it.
Oh man, it's the Raka Rumble, baby. The first round. And what a
Uh,
beautiful hand to start off with Jump.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't ask for a better hand if you jump than this. You got the Hovel, you got the Drake, Manicore shenanigans. Oh, and the Bestial Rage on the Manicore. That is some fancy, fancy stuff. But yeah, going into the matchup, it should be interesting. Of course, we do have the last will stuff of Helios taking on Jump, as we kind of mentioned. Maybe in the pre-match, maybe we didn't. Again,
Hmm.
I don't remember. But I mean, Tweakin, who we looking at in this matchup here? Who we? Oh, that's not good. Who we favoring as the faithful Drake disappears from our sights?
Oh man, it's tough because on the leaderboard, they're both evenly matched. I think Jump is just slightly above Helios. Unfortunately, I think at this matchup, I want to give the edge to Helios just because he has the burn and the healing potential, and also the synergy with Andrew. But that doesn't mean that Jump's completely out of this race. I mean, he has big units himself, like Southport Captain, Call of A, that can easily, overpower everything that Helios has. The question is, does Helios have enough burn to get rid of all the armories, the blacksmiths, the fat bars, and the hobbles, to kind of give that board presence down early?
Right. I mean, we're trying to see him, I guess, go for some early domination. The Horseman, unfortunately, missing the hovel. I think the hovel was his prime target.
Hmm.
Hitting the castle instead, which is more free burn, which I guess is never a bad thing, considering that
Right.
Jump has no healing, so more damage the better. We are going to see a bit of a, I guess, more defensive approach here from Helios. I imagine he's not going to. Okay, I say that, and he rushes in the Horseman. Yep, okay. Yep, this is what we're doing now. So now Jump has an armory line here if he wants to take it, which it looks like he is going to, over the Fat Bard, which I'm feeling okay about. It's not the
I would do
worst, but it's
that.
not the.
So that way, if things go south, you can play your Southport next turn. And then, I mean, I would like potentially see a Bestial Rage on that, but I don't think the Mana Core is going to survive that long. I think we might see a buff here or some type of burn on the armory if Helios has it.
He has 4 cards, unfortunately blocked from the Lumberjack draw, thanks to, no trading action going on here. He is considering something. I'm seeing a card hover in that hand of his, but holding off
Hmm.
for now. There are options. We could see. Haven't seen a bolt all game. We can use that if we feel like the armory is something that we got to get rid of now. Lumberjack retreating though. Priest going to be a sacrificial fodder. It looks like for
Ooh,
this
now the
rat.
question is the Southport or Call of Aid out here? Because the card I think he was hovering with was Andrew. I personally think it was Andrew. I don't think he was wanting to waste, a lumberjack on it with potentially, centaurs or any sort of other companions lurking in his deck. I want to think that healers can get a little bit more value. Um, but we're about to see here what card he was hovering over. And if it was worth waiting a turn 5, we're gonna fear the Southport.
Okay.
Gonna take a trip down south to the southern border. I heard it's nice this time of year.
And there is the
And there's
Andrew.
the Andrew. There's the Andrew.
It's kind of awkward though to play it here because these rats they don't trade well with the lumber. Well, they trade well for jump, but for Helios, man, it's just putting a lumberjack into a rat here. You still have to deal with a 2/1 body. It just feels gross.
And this is a mistake because now Jump has the perfect value for the Fat Bard Centaur to take out Andrew, I believe, and also kill the Lumberjack.
You should do the centaur first. Yep,
Yep.
ensuring that we don't buff Andrew before using said centaur. So now centaur going to come in, take 5 away, and of course land that extra kill on lumberjack. Gives Helios the draw, which is fun, but
Hmm.
God, nothing short of a Dragon's Fire might save him here. And even then, he still has to contend with the Fat Bard buff. Same with
Right.
the Southport. It feels like the early aggression is now backfiring on Helios. He doesn't have options to deal with all of this. We move
Hmm.
into turn 7 now. Helios, again, potentially hovering a card here, is going to be
Flamestorm.
Flamestorm. Okay, and then the Arcfire finishing
Okay.
off the Bard, which actually, not the Bard, but most of actually what's going on the board here as I misinterpret that interaction here. It's not going to matter though. The big boy Cannoneer though getting the Rampage, and this is never a good sign if you're facing down Druid. Rampage.
Hmm. And not only that, now he's got 12 damage
Ugh.
lurking in the back here where Helios can't really do anything unless he decides to, waste away a lot of his burns. But even then, that's basically probably, I would assume that's going to take up most of his turn.
Yeah, I mean just to
This
kind of
this is a
clear
sticky
this,
spot.
Dragon's
Dragon's Fire.
still not enough to clear the
Yep.
actual threats though. I mean it doesn't matter though because Blacksmith came. That would have been game if we didn't kill off the Bard, but still like this
Hmm.
feels unwinnable at this point for Helios, unless there's another Dragon's Fire lurking. But even now with the Rangers in hand,
Right.
it feels pretty rough here. I don't see Helios walking out of this one with nothing short of a miracle. We
Right.
are going to
And he's
see Cannoneers bop the face here as Blacksmith going to advance. Same with the Salahar. Tweaking.
now you now you can't even play Dragon's Fire
Uh,
without playing some sort of unit and rolling the dice. But I think this is all she wrote here for Helios.
Potentially. We could Arbiter extend, but even then, it does feel like we're just wasting time at that point, which is a
Hmm.
shame. Ugh, man. So Helios might be our first participant knocked out of the Raka Rumble here. Does he have anything? Does have the Arbiter to extend. Gonna probably take out, yep, the healthier of the two Cannoneers. One without Rampage, but still the healthier one nonetheless. But this is gonna give Jump, I imagine, free reign to just get these Rangers
Right.
on board here for turn 10. Rush both down face. Hell, even rushing the Blacksmith potentially, it seems like.
Oh yeah, might as well. Might as well.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to. Landing out the Cannoneer for another 6 damage, and then passing it back, putting Helios on the sudden death
Hmm.
life clock. I don't even know what I was going
He's
for
on
with
life
it.
alert. That's what we're gonna
Life
call it.
support.
Life
Life support. No,
alert.
it's life support. That's the
Oh,
phrasing.
life support.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like this is going to be game over here. I think the respects are being thrown out. And there's the flame storm, so there is going
He's
to be the end of the game. So Jump, our first participant, moving on in the Raka Rumble tweaking. Very exciting stuff from him, and hopefully we see more of that going forward if he's going to win the entirety of our tournament here. How do you feel on his performance, though?
I love it, and what I love more is now he's gonna enjoy that ice cream.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
people who are watching the YouTube comments, you may not get that reference, but he's enjoying the ice cream.
Well,
He
I mean,
earned that.
no, no,
He
no.
earned that.
We could turn this into something. So, like, we got to comment down below what flavor of ice cream Jump is having, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, let us in the comments. What flavor is Jump currently eating now on that ice cream? Let us know.
All right. But with that being said, folks, we're gonna take a look at the bracket here, take a look at the post match, and break down what's in store for Jump next. So let's go ahead and jump to that right now. All right, folks, and welcome back after match number 1. Jump, our winner, advancing in this little bracket of ours here. And overall, quite a dominant performance from Tweakin, not going to lie here. Very strong points throughout the matchup here. The removal of Andrew early, the rampaging Cannoneer, all things that just seemed to fire on all cylinders for Jump, and really just wasn't going Helios's way.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough to deal with any sort of rampaging range unit, but to have to deal with a 5/6 rampaging cannoneer, that is probably one of the most annoying things to ever exist. And then to top it off, you have the call for aid, and now not only having to deal with a rampaging cannoneer, but now having to deal with two rangers at minimum cost.
Yeah.
Um, it was brutal. Like I predicted, I thought Jump was going to come out the victor on that one.
And you were right.
He did it in, classic fashion, dominating faction. I don't think there was any point in the game where Jump wasn't in control or,
Right.
wasn't kind of fearing for his life. So kudos to Jump.
But now he has another matchup to get to, which
He
we'll see
does.
later on. He'll come back on this episode or this event later. I guess we'll call it the event. I'm more professional
Mhm.
about it. But moving on the other side of things here, we do have one more round one to get through. Asteroid v Bolas, and I mean, just gonna start out by saying, man, surprising to see Asteroid in this position here, especially given the caliber that he is as a player. Not gonna lie though, I think we've been touting this all season. It's probably because of the deck choice that he went with, from where the position that he's at, which
Oh, it's
is
100% the deck choice. Sorry to cut you off right there. It's 100% the deck choice.
yeah, sure. Just I'm trying to be nice about it, but you're just gonna outright come out and say it. But hey, you're the honest one apparently. But yeah, looking at the matchup here, it's gonna be another rough one for Asteroid here. Going up against Bolas, the red-yellow knight package. I'm not feeling high hopes for Asteroid. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but oh my god, I don't feel so strongly for him here.
It's hard to pick Asteroid as a favorite in any matchup at this point. We just know that, more often than not, just his big answer is Spirit Crash, which never seems to be able to pull off. And, maybe once in a blue moon, maybe some funny Eternal Strike with a Fenrir. But more often than not, especially come up against, red yellow, that thing is going to get burnt off as soon as that thing hits the floor. So I feel like this is going to be a brutal match. This is going to be a cutthroat match. Now, however, the advantage that Asteroid has is I'm looking at Bolas's deck right now. It is very mid to late game heavy. And what I mean by that is Bolas only has 3 units. Granted, he has, 3 copies of each unit that are under 4 cost cards. He has Lumberjack, Questing Knight, and Acolyte. But he can
Jeez.
easily brick
Oh yeah.
and have Frog Princess and Furnace Knights and Mordocs or Rakas, and not being able to play anything, and then at that point, Asteroid might be able to pick up a win. Now he does have some burn here and some draw potential with the likes of Flamestorm and Tarius files to kind of you know quote unquote lower the cost of some of his units. But the question is, will he be able to get that off? And also, at what point in time will it be too late? Will it be at the perfect time? There's only one way to find out.
Of course, there is only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 2, Astro v Bolas, right now. All right, folks, and welcome back to technically first round matchup. Don't know how we're ordering these yet in the post-production. But anyway, another fight here, Asteroid versus Bolas here, already off to a quicker start than usual, as we got the Salahar Rider meeting the Lumberjack here. Tweakin, who do you think's going to be giving the edge in this fight here? I mean, we were just talking earlier about the deck matchup here. Bolas got the red-yellow. Asteroid
Hmm.
back to his usual shenanigans here. What are we expecting?
Um, I want to give the advantage to Bolas just because I think Astro has struggled throughout this, season with this deck choice. However, the Raka Rumble is the perfect opportunity for Asteroid's deck to shine because you really just need to win one game to advance. You don't need to, rely on a series win. So,
Hmm.
it's easier to get that one win under your belt than it is to, win twice. So I want to pull for Asteroid. He's the dark horse in this competition. He's the dark horse right now. So if he could somehow manage to find his way deep into the Rackle Rumble, I would be all for it. We're gonna see a Furnace Knight here,
Little
and we might even
misplayed.
see, yeah,
Didn't
we
rush it
might
up
see
like he
good,
normally does.
yeah, might see a dissipate and maybe a Manticore since we're not really into any Dragonfire range quite yet, and we might even be a little bit aggressive with this Manticore too. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to push it up, get some damage in while we can here. Furnace Knight has to come back out, probably, I assume. And that might meet the Manicore. It will delete the Manicore, but not the Kunoichi, forcing Bolas to potentially take some Inferno damage, depending on where he places it, obviously. He has to be smart about that placement as well, if he decides to bring that back out here. Oh,
Ooh, Headless
Horseman.
Horseman.
Oh, it was not the pull. What are we doing?
Ooh.
Interesting. We do not want to make the trade here. We don't want to make the connection. We can put the Manicore into the Horseman, land Centaur in on face here. Really just push some early damage as much as we can here. It's a tough choice though.
It is tough because we're losing resources in our hands. It's getting later in the game, and one big heal can turn the tide of this game. So we got to be careful right now. We're
Ooh.
gonna do that. We're gonna use that early. Uh,
I think I like
I
that. I
you
think
know
I like that from him.
I like it. I like it because normally we don't really get that much value out of that Spirit Crash. So just get it while the getting's good.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can get another Centaur out here, ooh, we could Centaur into a Ramrus. Oh.
No, we don't. I think what we want to do potentially, maybe set up this another Kunoichi, maybe with the Masuda as well, just for some insurance. But I mean, we risk a Dragon's Fire at that point. Asteroid must smell blood in the water at this point. He absolutely must smell blood.
Right. I would just play the Kunoichi. There's no real need for the Masuda. I mean, you can play both those cards next turn. So just playing the Masuda is giving incentive to play the Dragon's Fire, where you don't really want to use it if you don't have to on for one unit. Seems like a waste. If we can. Oh man, we're close. If we can get just another, Centaur or
Well,
something
I
that can
think
get to his castle.
okay. My question for Bolas was he gonna push that all the way forward, knowing actually, okay, no, we don't have game. We have 5 damage in hand with the Ramrus, double Ramrus plus Centaur. That's not enough for lethal. That is not enough for lethal quite yet here. And this is where it's going to get really tough because now ending turn we are being put in a Luminaris position. Oh, and there's the ball. Oh no.
Oh God, we need to dissipate.
Oh
We,
no.
oh man, we need to dissipate here badly, or a panda. I'm not even sure if he runs panda, but oh, that's not gonna cut it. I think this is
No.
over. I think it's
Uh,
game.
Luminaris would be a game ender here. At this point, man, it's a matter of praying he doesn't have it. The best we could
or
do is
any burn.
take off the resolve, but oh no, this is so
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I mean, you just play Shodan and put it in front of the Frog Prince
Oh my
and
god.
pray he doesn't have any sort of burn or arbiters or direct damage or drain life. Oh, he has it. He has it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame. That's such a shame.
It's wild, right? Because there was a position I think if we played the Kuno aggressively with how Bolas played, we
Hmm.
could have been able to sink in the necessary damage. But it was a gamble. It was a gamble, and we didn't take it, and now we're paying the price for it. We can't even pop the resolve. We can't
Nope.
even pop the resolve.
We're risk
Jesus.
we're risking it here. Any burn?
Any
Oh
burn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so unfortunate. Oh, we
See, Asteroid with the Kuniwichi play, he was thinking, well, I've already ran the previous Kunoichi down Broadway, so it was playing a little mind games there towards the end, thinking that Bolas might think that he's going to play the Kunoichi in the same exact spot. So he thought that he could catch him off guard and playing him in the middle. And Bolas, stayed true. He didn't fall for it, and that I think won him the game right there.
It did. If we had sunk in that last Kunoichi bit earlier, we could have set up perfectly for, a dual Ramrus Centaur play, just to get the last bit of damage in to end off the game. But absolutely wild stuff. And it will be Bolas advancing to take out, or to take on, excuse me, not take out. We don't know if he will, but he will move to take on Vaseven in his next round, the semifinals, if you will. And that winner will go on to that final spot here. But yeah, Twegan, incredible, incredible matchup here. It was close. It was close. Asteroid got aggressive. He hit hard, hit fast, but it was not enough. Uh, but let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket here, see how this match is going to, well, I did say it already, but let's see how this matchup will look in fancy, fancy graphics. And welcome back, folks. We're back at the brackets here, and tweaking. Our prediction was kind of accurate here. Bolas faring quite well against Asteroid's deck, but I mean, I will say, Asteroid came out absolutely swinging this matchup here. I don't know about you, but to me, felt like this was probably the hardest he hit in most of this season.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great chance to pull it off. For a second, I thought he was going to be able to do it. There was a point in the match towards the end where Bolas had a 50-50% chance of guessing wrong and basically would have cost him the match. Um,
The
but
Kuno
he
gamble,
ended up
yeah.
choosing right. Ended up choosing right, and that made all the difference. Being able to block that initial 4 damage and not giving lethal to Asteroid, and then at that point, we kind of saw Asteroid's hand was going downhill. Didn't really have anything to deal with a lot of Bolas's heavier late game units that I said that it's going to be hard for him to counter.
Hmm.
Just unfortunate. Oh man, he was so close. He
It
was so
was.
close.
It was, and it breaks my heart because, I would have loved to see the underdog story make it all the way through. I don't know if his deck would have been a fair matchup against Vase's. I don't think we've seen that collision, especially with Vase's newer deck. But I mean, all things that are fantasies at this point, unfortunately, because Bolas is moving on. But we'll take a rest for Bolas for a minute there, let him recuperate, let him recover a bit, as we're going to jump back to, funny enough, Jump, who's taking on Jay in our next matchup here. The green-white returns against Jay's funky blue-yellow deck, which I gotta give it to him. Jay's been putting some work in the later half of the season. It's been good. It's been looking good for him. He earned a spot, higher on this leaderboard here to get him that round 1 bye. I I don't know. This match is a wild card for me because it's not a matchup we see often on ladder. It's kind of tricky to tell which way the fountain will fall here.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, we saw how powerful Jump's deck can be. I think we saw, the biggest curve that Jump's deck is able to have in that last game. Or in that first round, being able to, get that rampaging cannoneer and also the the Call of Aids. Now with Jay's deck, I feel like that's going to be the same problem. How he's going to be able to answer that if that somehow manages to, come on board. I'm looking at his deck, and really the only way he can really deal with it is one, a freezing pillar,
Hmm.
and being able to, bounce off that. Two, a Mordock, being able to spawn a unit and hopefully, killing off the rampage. Or three, just having Temple of the Five Gods and being able to, chain lightning and add on lightning blade to that, and being able to uh chain it away. Outside of that, there's really no way that he can, get to him. Now he does have Yenneroth as well, so he has four options here. So he's not dead in the water. He does have some outs.
But it's gonna be
But I
hard. It's gonna
still,
be a tricky
right,
one.
I still like blue yellow more than, yellow white, yellow white, yellow green. I just think it's a little bit more balanced. You have the early aggression, you have the late aggression, you got heals. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket here. So personally, I'm gonna give the advantage to Jay. I think blue yellow is my favorite combination. So I'm gonna go with my favorite. I'm gonna rock with my favorite.
All right, we're rocking with the favorite. That's fine. I mean, I'll take the other end of you if you want to be a little more on the betting side here. I'll go with Jump.
Okay.
See how that works. See how that rides on.
He does have the the advantage of being though. I think I don't know how long JJ has been playing the game, but I know Jump has put his time in. So he's been around the block a couple of times, to say the least. So he does have
Experience
uh it,
advantage.
that experience. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen. Only one way we can find out how this matchup goes, as you know. So, without further ado, folks, match number 3, Jump VJ, our semifinal match, first of two, happening right now. All right,
welcome to
welcome
welcome
back.
to the Eastern Conference, the Eastern Conference Finals here.
Or how we like to call it, the semifinals of this bracket here. So Jump making his way out of round one, going up against Jay, who has had some success recently in casting conflicts here. We'll see if he's able to translate that into the Raka Rumble here. Whoever wins this one, of course, going into the finals. So bound to be a great matchup here. We're going to start out nice and easy here. Faithful Drake, looking good,
Yeah.
looking good.
He's already flashing the, that deadly combo of Lightning Blade and Dwarf Paladin. We all remember how that went when he faced Banana not too long ago.
Well, I mean, it could go one of two ways. I mean, one match I think he pulled it off and was successful. The other one, not so much. Although I don't, did Elblade come down on that match? I don't remember. I know Paladin came down both matches, but I'm not
Oh yeah,
remembering.
Lightning Blade came down in both, and Banana did a saving grace, Frozen Pillar. But nonetheless, that's no hero there. So we're gonna get our own. Oh, that's unfortunate, but we're gonna get our own Dwarf Paladin out here. What do we think we see from Jump this turn? Maybe a blacksmith, an elvish thief, a
Wizard.
wizard.
Wizard isn't
Oh.
bad. We do see the L-Blade potentially being blocked here. I do like how he placed that hovel, by the way. Quick note about that. Recognize that he's going up against the Vikings, avoiding that early chain as best as he can with the hovel placement up at the top there. Very nice, very nice. We do get an Arctic Explorer from Arm in response, or Jay. I don't know why I guess I called him Arm because of the name at the top there. But that's neither here nor there. We do get the Arctic
Mm-hmm.
Explorer, and yeah, it might be a little bit of a slower game here, Tweaking. At least that's what I'm expecting.
I love it. I love it. Until we see some more like, blacksmith armories go down, and that's when I think Arm might have a little bit trouble here. As I say that, here comes a fat bard. I mean, we need those frozen pillars. We need something to kind of get into Jump's back line of defense. Just because it's hard to do without having burn or range. Now we do get an armory ourselves, which is great, but I'd rather see another unit out here just in case, Jump has a centaur and is able to get rid of that armory. Um, but it's hard. You see that global buff and you're just like, I need to get it down. I need to get it down. I want to get it down.
It's a way to
But I don't
keep
think
up
that's
with
the
the
move.
rats that are going to probably start growing in power the more they're left on this board here, which is concerning. It certainly is. I
Right.
mean, we only looking at Jump's hand, it's got 4 cards. Those 4 cards would be literally, for all we know, 2 more global buffs to outpace Jay here, and that just doesn't bode well for him. He does go for the armory commitment here. We'll see if Jump has the companion response. Rat running all the way up. Spiny
Yep.
is going to be enough to deal with the armory thanks to that fat bard buff here. Rat going to go ahead and go into the paladin here for some nice little healing stuff. I guess just to avoid the spiny, although we could get some double paladin action out here.
We could. Yeah, I think we're gonna do maybe double paladin here, and maybe go into a books and pray to God that he doesn't have another centaur to get rid of that books, because we would definitely love to see another book draw here. I would actually push that, yeah, right there, get out of that wizard's range,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then flying books,
Books
put
in
it
the
wherever you
corner.
like.
I would say in the
Yeah, put
corner
it
just
wherever
to
you
ensure
like.
that we get it. I think at this point here, because I mean we don't want, like you said. I mean if you waste another centaur on it, that's brilliant. But I don't think Jump's the type of player who's just gonna spur. Oh,
Ooh, 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 ooh. Now this is where it gets kind of problematic with Crusaders and Vikings is when you come up against a player like Jump and he decides to ramp and scope a wizard like this, and we really have no reclaim. That's a funny little card. Now do you play that on the hobble and just get rid of the spawns? Looks
it
like we
looks like
do,
we are gonna do that. Yeah, that
and then potentially
is.
just like rush spam and try to clog the middle in hopes that we can get some funny lightning blade action on the wizard.
I think that's what we're going
Uh,
for here. At least that's the hope. Jump does have options though going into turn 6, although in a way may have to deal with that spawner so there aren't rats popping. Like how unfortunate would it be for Jump if he just lets a rat spawn, L-Blade hits the board on that rat, and just his day is ruined. Like that's a real possibility if he leaves that spawner in the back there.
it's good. It's it is a possibility. I don't think Jump's gonna allow that though, because I mean, you see just a lumberjacks facing down. I say that, and
And there's a
now
Matty Darkbender.
and there's the Matty Darkbender, and
Well, we can still deal with it. Push the Bard up, move Darkbender out of the way. We have 3 to deal with the spawner, but that does open up a bit of chain. So maybe not. No, maybe don't do that actually. As I'm speaking about it.
I would love to see an Elvish Thief come out here. I mean, God, was this a mistake from Jump? Did he not?
I don't know,
When
man.
have you ever seen someone play Reclaim on a building and then the next turn the player just does not take it out? He is debating hard. We're about to see a rat come out.
Yeah, we're about to see it. There it is.
Oh my God. Here he is. The lone rat. Now, what do you take out? The Darkbender, the castle? Do you Lightning
That's.
Blade the wizard?
I mean, we can't even kill the wizard with L-Blade. We don't have
You
enough.
can. You take it on the lumberjack. Either, I mean, you take it.
Well,
You depends on what you want.
it's the +2 plus.
Yeah, it's three.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking. For some reason, I think he didn't have his like base stat in
Uh,
calculating
the-
that. So like I'm.
hey, that's fine. That's why we're in the booth. That's why we're in the booth. We don't have to do math in here.
I mean,
We're
yeah.
protected.
I mean, what's worse, a scoped unit that can hit you from all the way in the back, or the Dark Bender? Might be the Dark
Honestly,
Bender.
this Darkbender's scary because I mean, if you put it on the wizard, I mean, you can easily just put a rampage and a scope onto the Darkbender as well. And I think the wizard's not in the best position right now. We still have that rat hovel up there that
Oh
Jump
yeah,
has to
that's
deal with.
yeah. He has to start spawning. I mean, we did lose the L Blade to get rid of the Dark Bender, but
Hmm.
this is a nice little turnaround here. We kind of gained some upper hand, some feel advantage, if you will, with unit count. And Jump's deck not packing the wide removal spells to deal with this at once here. He's gonna have to kind of go bit by bit here to take them out, which
A
might.
swordsman would be deadly. He does
Uh,
run 3 copies of swordsman.
but there's the
We're
Elvish
gonna,
Thief.
and there goes the rat hovel.
Um,
Such a shame. Such a
that's.
shame. I wanted to see another rat.
I think we all want to see another rat here. Curious though. I mean, the wizard is open to get hit by the monk. We'll see if that's going to be important later down the line here. Still got 5 gold though. Could easily throw out a blocker maybe for this. We're feeling it. Although I don't know. Do you have to? Ooh, okay, centaur.
There we go. All right. Ooh, a Craxus. Or,
How do you
I
feel
mean,
about
Craxus.
Mordok
I'm not.
here? You too. Mordok can just easily bounce off that centaur to provide another sort of threat right in Jump's face at this point in the matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, and you're really just hoping that, it might spawn. Maybe I might trade the lumberjack too with
for
the
just
fat bard just to see
for
a
the
draw. Just
draw.
see a draw. See if we can't get something here. Frozen pillar, that's
That's
what we need.
huge.
That's a good play here because now we can trap those guys down there. We can trade the centaur, play the flying books, and trade with the elvish thief if you want.
Jeez.
Actually, I wouldn't play the Frozen Pillar here. We got a little bit too excited here. I think we can save that
I
for
like how you're just
later.
narrating this play out as if we're in Jay's head. Like we got the pillar, we were so excited to play it. We were going to play it, but then we're like, nah, maybe not this turn. Like, ah, man, it's crazy how we have the experience to just narrate those plays as they're happening in real time. But I mean, we went for the Mordok here, spawning the Banshee, getting right in the wizard's face here, doing a bit of damage. We did leave the thief alive, which is concerning, more ramp. But of course, it looks like Wizard hitting out the Mordok here. Maddie, okay, no swordsman, unfortunately. Oh,
Oh, what a damn shame.
oh boy.
You would have loved to have that earlier, but now, oh, I mean, oh God. Okay. If we
This
could somehow
is
pull a lightning blade here, I think this would just be a wrap if we can somehow manage to get a lightning blade out of here. We're doing a lot of cleanup here, which is great for jump, but unfortunately, I think everything is just
he leaves
open to
himself.
chain lightning.
Well, no, he's
Oh,
gonna remove it. He
it's
values
not
the
gonna.
safety of his range units to say, yeah, no, we're not gonna risk chain here, which is a bold play. I have to admit there. We're gonna go with Priest Craxus on the other side of things, though. Gonna make it harder for Jump to remove this, but yeah,
Mhm.
quite the sacrificial play there he made, Tweakin.
Right, but I feel like that was a smart play, just in case, Arm had a lightning blade somewhere in his hand. I mean, if he plays that, I think it's a wrap for jump because you lose all your units. Um, but now with Lord Terrius, you're going to get so much more draw value. You'll recycle those
Missing
armories
resources.
and
Oh, the pillar
exactly easier.
value. Oh, the
Oh, and just to top it
oh.
off with a chain too. I mean, what more can you ask?
Oh,
Um,
yikes. Now, this is going to get pretty awkward here because it's a question of does Arm want to commit to freezing pillar, which I mean, I think he can here. He can
yes.
afford that plus books, right? And now he sets up this
Hmm.
dangerous temple play here moving into the late game here. Or even later game, I guess, is the more appropriate term here. But yeah, this is bad. This is bad. Not where we want to be if we're jump.
Northland's Ranger. All right. Now we're going to be able to get that, but unfortunately, everything is going to be chained together here. And I think if we do this right, we can clear off we can clear off basically everything here.
With that double tempo pull, yes we are. Yes we are. This is
He's got to be careful here. I think he needs to hit the Southport first with the books.
well. The question is, do you think you should have got double tempo out to generate that two chain, or is it worth playing something like
I think
holding
I
off
think
Lich,
I
something?
think it's the Lich. I think we play the Lich here just so we make sure we don't screw up because with the Lightning Blade and the double chain, you might screw up here with because you have to move it you have to be very precise and one quick attack or one bad movement and you kind of lose all your value here. We're gonna wait a bit. Um, okay, we're gonna do the double here.
Commit to the double. Okay, I see where he's going because now the monk is
Yep.
going to take out the cannoneer, right? That's going to chain here. We are going to trade with the ranger, which is a bit unfortunate. I think we could have probably timed that better to get some face damage, but still clears the board. We do know the jump has a second ranger, I believe, in hand though, so I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out. Bops monk in the face here for 5 gold.
Hmm. But this is fine because we're in sudden death. We're about to be in sudden death. We have the health advantage. I'm sure we still have the heals. I mean, I know we have clerics still roaming around. The only thing that we have to worry about really is rampage scope on any range units.
But even then, do we
Um,
have the time to do that? I mean, look at Jump's health. It's down nearly half of, the original total here and going into sudden death. If Jay can just outlast, heal every so often, I think it's just
mhm.
a hop, skip, and a jump here to get himself into finals and to secure himself a playoff spot.
Right. We just have to play smart here. We don't have to rush. We don't have to, play ultra aggressive, just, keep the applying the pressure when needed, but don't make any, crucial mistakes. We have the advantage. We have the lightning blades and everything. We just got to play smart and let Jump basically hang himself.
That is the idea here. So, of course, Jump trading in a Jack for some draw here, weakening the Yarm Giant just a bit. Still has 7 gold though. See what else is lurking in that hand of his here. It has to be something big here. It really does. Thinking back to what could be in his deck, maybe, I mean, more scope, more rampage, maybe a companion or two. But I mean, the way he's moving out this wizard out of position now to hit castle, it's not a good sign.
I don't think he
Uh,
can take out this Yarm.
oh, that's brutal if he doesn't, because that's just even. Oh, he can't. It's even less time now for him, because I mean, this Yarm
Hmm.
essentially. Actually, yeah, no, the Yarm can just walk in, right? Deal 4 damage with the
Yeah,
temple, the double temple, and oh, Yenaroth.
and the Yenroth too.
I really think at this point it just might be game over. Just
Yeah, I
stalling out a few
mean,
turns, right? Not if not if
once
not if he does that.
I get that. I get that move, but I think it would have been better to play it on the to get the castle damage rather than the wizard. Especially now that we have cleric in here. I mean, we can lich here and cleric and maybe get lucky and heal the castle. I would love to see a lich play. That way we can keep this cleric alive.
And also freezing off the blacksmith so it can't trade here.
I would trade with cleric.
Nope, not gonna be
Nope.
what's going on here.
Gonna do the lich here. I
No.
mean, it's fine. I mean, we have a Yenneroth or, stall. I mean, I think this is just, game over. I don't see a way that Jump can get out of this.
Uh
We're gonna get a Lich here. We're gonna fly straight over that midget of a dwarf, and we're gonna freeze him.
oh man, that hurts though. Just saying the double temple creates so much more value in trading. It's just brutal at this stage.
Hmm. Now, if Jump somehow miraculously comes back from this, I think the biggest mistake was the Yarm not hitting the castle and going for the wizard. That's gonna come back and bite Arm and JJ in the butt if somehow he manages to lose, which I don't see. I think Arm has, a complete hold on this match, and it's just, stalling at this point. We're gonna have a 9-9 here, and we'll probably see a Yenneroth come out here and end the game. Not even that. I mean, we have freezing pillars, we
There
got
is
clerics, we
so
got
much freestall in this hand. It
yeah.
is insane. Let's going down, freezing off Ranger. Yep, the one you need to hit. And then just a simple pass back. Like it's just all he needs to do, man. Just freeze and pass.
But he's giving Jump, opportunities to survive, and I think the much better play would have been either Yenneroth or freezing pillar
It's funny
to,
because Yarm would have the Yarm to face would have ended the game by now with the life totals
right.
where it's at. Like that, we wouldn't be here. We'd say, we'd mention like, oh, Jay goes to the final. Like we would have been talking about that, but yet here we are still in like the very closing portions of this matchup because that missed Yarm. It's funny. It's funny how one play can lead to an entirely different outcome in a game.
Right, right. And when push comes to shove, when you're up against an opponent with no chance of healing, sudden death, just take the castle damage. Really, yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with, wasting away at your opponent's castle and just lowering their chances of coming back. Because now we give Jump, a couple extra turns. I'm gonna see if Dwarven scope on the
It
Maddie.
can't even
Oh!
can't even get rid of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, what do you mean you didn't mean to do that? What do you think it was gonna do? Give it an extra attack?
yeah, well, there is the
Damn.
surrender from Jump. It was not going to make a huge difference, but that is it. That is one of the 2 semifinal matches down here, as Jay punches his ticket to said finals as well as the playoffs. Of course, both playoff spots uh, are taken up by our two finalists, and the winner of that will get better seating in the playoffs themselves. So, gotta throw off some congratulations here to Jay for actually making it into the playoffs, one of the last ones to do so, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. Although gotta give props to Jump, man. He put on a hell of a performance throughout the season and today. Gotta show the respect where it's deserved.
I'm speechless.
For reasons that we'll not explain here. But I mean, with that being said, let's go ahead, jump to the bracket, jump to the breakdown, and show you guys what's going on. All right, folks, and back after match number 3, Jay taking the win in a surprising little comeback story for him, Tweakin. Not gonna lie, wasn't expecting the card Reclaim to be the big MVP of this show, but I mean, it certainly paid its diligence here. It certainly did some fun things in this matchup. Creating that rat, giving the opportunity for the L-Blade on Darkbender here, which allowed for Jay to do some more pushing back, and then creating the clumps. It just felt like, Reclaim was a big tipping point, and Jump really started to fall apart after that.
Yeah, I mean, no one expects. I mean, Reclaim is so rare nowadays. Even though, with the everyone running globals and buildings, you really don't really see Reclaim being played that often, because more often than not, it's just a more expensive, removal, because you expect your opponent to, after they lose their building, to just go ahead and, take the building out. But Jump, for some odd reason, decided to say, screw it, we'll let him have his rat. What can a 1-1 rat do this late in the game?
It turns out pop a lightning blade. That's what
yeah.
do.
Yeah, you don't expect a lightning blade to be played on a 1-1 rat from a rat hovel that you reclaimed.
Jeez.
I mean, it was just so surprising. Jump had no way of seeing that happening. And like you said, I feel like that was the biggest turning point in the match. After that, you kind of lose all your momentum.
It kind of gave Jay the window.
You're like, oh my God, did I really just... Right, you give him that breathing room, and it's just like, wow, did I really just, lose my, Darkbender and my advantage to a rat hovel, which probably I could have just easily, taken out.
I mean, to be fair though, I think Jump fairly, recovered fairly well. It's just that unfortunately in doing so, he opened himself up to another big punch in the gut, the freezing pillar, which set him up for that double temple chain, creating all of that massive damage to just really end off the game. At that point, I thought it was probably over. We saw the Tarius pop out from a Maddie, which we thought was going to be huge, but apparently not. I mean, frozen pillar, chain, goodbye Tarius, thanks for coming. Like, it was rough. It was rough to watch. I think Jay really knew where to hit once we got that hovel lightning blade. Like it felt like he was out for blood after that, and it paid dividends. It paid well.
Right, and that's why blue yellow is my favorite deck combination. It's just so hard to maneuver around freeze without having the direct removal, whether it's from Fortify, which no one runs but I love it, or Warlocks and burning it off. I mean, it's just so hard, and it makes you think in a lot differently than you normally do, having to rearrange your units, play your units in ways that you really didn't want to, and you don't really and just trying to avoid chain lightning as much as possible, because it's coming. The question is when.
Yeah.
And we saw it to full effect this game.
Well, I mean, with that, Jay has secured himself a playoff spot here, but his seeding yet to be determined here. His opponent, though, will have to be figured out, though, as we jump back to the other side. Bolas taking on Vesa in a match that should be quite good here. A little, again, unpredictable. We've got Bolas's Night Package again coming back out against Vesa's notoriously aggressive-ish deck. I don't want to call it Rush. It's not Rush. But it certainly seems like it's very Vaseven-esque, at least in his style. Running things like Serpent Witch in there, Hovel, Dagger Storm, other good stuff cards that really just hurt your opponent. They're meant to control the game how you want to. It
Hmm.
feels like so. I'd be interested to see the matchup and see if maybe Vesa can manipulate these knights to backfire on Bolas. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, I think Vesa can do it, so I'm taking him in this matchup here. I don't know if you feel differently.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, looking at Vase's deck,
Uh-huh.
it's strange because the way he just builds his deck. Usually when you see a lot of other players, they're like really stacking three copies of a lot of cards, and then when you look at Vase's deck, I mean, he has like some one copies of Darkbender, a Drain Life, and Dwarven Scope, and Grendels, and Keep of the Doorway. So he has a lot more cards in his arsenal where a lot of players, I mean, you see, Furnace Knight, and it's like, all right, I have to deal with, three Furnace Knights. But now you look at Vase's deck, he's like, all right, you have a Darkbender to deal with, you have a Grendel to deal with, you have a Con Artist, a Southport Captain, you have all these different units, and so it's kind of hard to kind of, decide and pick which is,
The scariest to your specific
scariest
strategy.
to
Yeah.
use. And I like that because it kind of lowers the chance of you bricking, and also you drawing cards that may not help you in the moment. It gives you more variety. um so I like Vasavin, but looking at the deck, I think in the later game, Bolas has the advantage with the clearing ability of Lumis and Rakas,
All right.
whereas Vasavin doesn't really have that option. It's more so just like brute strength with Urban Scopes and ramping ability with the Southport Captain and the Con Artist, getting out those more Minotaurs, the Rangers, the Griffin, and the Dirty Kraken, where he really only has Manfish, Grendel, and see. Okay, he has monsters, so never mind. It's not as weird, but yeah, I think if Bolas can survive to the point where his back isn't against the wall towards the later stages, I think he has a good chance here,
All
especially with
right.
heals on your side. It's never a bad option to have heals, whereas Vasifin, he doesn't have any. So if Bolas is able to keep it close and get to that early stage, I think Bolas can manage to pull this one out.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if that's going to be the case here. Match number 4, Vasavan v Bolas, determining our last playoff slot. That match coming at you right now. All right, folks, and welcome back as we're jumping into Vesa v Bolas here. Definitely hasn't been the. This is definitely the first recording of this, right? Tweaking, definitely the first.
From what the viewers have, from what the viewers have seen, yes.
Oh boy, but hey, looking out, starting out with Lumberjacks here, bound set to be a great match. I'm all cocked. Tweaking, what are your predictions here going into the matchup here? We've seen Bolas so far take down Asteroid, but of course Asteroid not probably not the biggest threat in terms of deck this season. Now going up against Vesa, what are your thoughts here as we see Lumberjack trade?
Vase's deck is fine. It's got a lot of, good common cards, but I feel like the later the game goes on, the more it benefits Bolas more. Just we have the likes of Lumi, and we got Craxus, we got Dragonsfire, I'm pretty sure we have Raka in here as well. So Vesa really needs to kind of, push the tides here, push the pace, and kind of, get Bolas on the defense and not let him control the game here as much as possible. I would imagine we might see an Armory plus a Witch Bolt here on that Aculite for Vesivin's next turn here.
Potentially. We do know that Bolas's deck usually carries a couple of big knights, things like Furnace, Frog Prince, which
Hmm.
Vesa can really only deal with at most it feels like one or two at a time. If he gets overwhelmed by
Right.
those big bodies, it just doesn't end well. So we need to establish these globals, as you mentioned. Armory is a good start. I am worried though that Bolas will see that as sort of prime removal target. Things like Blue Firebolt in the deck potentially. That's going to create a whole lot of issue here as we're just going to jump back in there. Beautiful work there. Beautiful work by the network. But I mean, so far it's playing out pretty well for him, I would say.
Right, and then we're gonna get a Dagger Storm on here to kind of take out the right knight. Actually, yeah,
Yeah, we
no,
should have enough gold to do both if
especially
we
with that
wanted
fear.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, with that fear. I mean, our hand isn't looking the best right here, so even if Volas does Blue
Actually,
Firebolt,
we
I think
can't.
you would much rather
Oh wait.
uh
I
play
don't.
the armory.
I don't think the math adds up for a white knight kill in the following
No, I mean
turn.
you play the Dagger Storm, and then you just do your little funny little thing.
I mean,
You don't have to attack it.
I guess.
D- I mean, or you can just Serpent Witch it and
I mean, if we're Vesa, we're not looking at a Luminaris until next turn. It gives us the ability to set up some additional bodies here. Maybe hold the Blacksmith in reserve so it doesn't, again, get burned off. Maybe like a backup to the armory if we do lose that. I do like the play of
Mhm.
Serpent Witch here, putting out a big body that Bolas it kind of has to respond to. It's being pushed up fairly aggressively here, and he only has a White Knight to deal with it. Darkbender does not help the case here, Bolas. Darkbender does not help. Or does it? Well, not with the Serpent Witch at this point.
Yeah, now we might see like a blacksmith trade with the two units and maybe, I mean, Daggerstorm and get the Darkbender on a timer here, or we
Uh,
just completely ignore it and
we can put the rat
we can take out the White Knight with the Elvish Chief, but then we would have to take out the Taria's files.
Ooh, we Ramboed the Dagger Storm. I think. Well, clearly one landed on both. I think the second went on Darkbender. I can't
Yeah, it's
confirm
two
that.
on two on Darkbender, one on the Knight, which is probably the better of the
Yeah.
combination here.
You want to get Darkbender down as fast as possible here. But also keeping up the pressure on Castle, I mean, it's also good. I don't really know how much heal Bolas is running in the deck. I think probably Arbiters. I don't know if hands are in here. I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now. So this could be a bit troublesome for Bolas, especially if he doesn't have something like a Luminaris that might be able to, clear out some of these threats right now. Unfortunately, he blocked a Prime Lumi spot with that Taurus files. Definitely not what he wanted to see.
No, absolutely not. We really need to take out this Serpent Witch here. I mean, we might see a Lumi right here. Yeah.
Oh, defensive Lumi. All right. And then, yeah, we keep the White Knight alive via the Dark Bender. Okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty good news for Vesta, though. Illuminaris was sort of the big card that would have equalized it for Bolas, but having to use it
Oh
on
yeah,
defense feels really bad here,
we're
especially
gonna coin
now.
into a Mordock here.
Uh, oh, we could bounce off the Taurus if we wanted to snipe off the Dark Bender a turn early, which I think is, yeah, not from up there, unless we have to move that
I
rat first.
I would move the Rat forward, the Darkbender behind the behind the Rat, and then that bottom Rat underneath the Taria's Files to block any sort of fear on the Mordock. And then potentially next turn, or we're just gonna give him the draw here. What are we gonna get? A Banshee for our troubles.
I mean,
Um,
I think Vesa is. No, I don't think he's fear blocking. He's missing that bottom space to be a complete fear block,
mhm.
which is unfortunate. But he did opt to give Bolas the cards here. Bolas again now has some more resources to hopefully combat this Mordock. I see a dirty Mordock scope in Bolas's future if he can't pop this now.
And I'm pretty sure that's game over. If that Mordock is able to get that scope.
Oh yeah, because the units are 5 attack, so that's perfect math.
Hmm.
Very interesting. Well, we'll see if he can deliver the final blow here. Bolas has to be considering some options. A Mordock of his own hits the
Yeesh.
board. That
It's
is,
not going to be enough unless it snipes the armory
uh,
or he pulls a Wraith.
you had to fear
Oh
back the
no.
Mordock. It's a Wraith, but it's out of
Uh,
position. Oh no. Yeah, I think that's it. He's got no gold left. He can't. He can't
Now
pop this.
he needs to block here. He needs to nope,
He
and this
doesn't.
is
He
the
doesn't. He's
game.
not predicting the scope. He's not
Yep.
predicting the scope. And there it is. Mordock Scope
Oh
running
no.
for the win here. Slapping 6, slaps the additional 5 for the Wraith, and that is lethal damage. Very well played from Vase in a matchup that was, to be honest, maybe a bit harder for him than we were anticipating. But hey, he still pulls out the win, right? Still pulls out the win.
Hmm. And we get to see that horrible mobile screen.
Okay, well,
Just one more just one more game more.
oh boy. Well, we're gonna throw it off here. I'm just gonna, in case Vesa shares more stuff that maybe isn't public. Uh, regardless, we have now to
Good
get into
game.
our finals. We're getting into our finals here, so let's go ahead and jump into that and look at our
Oh my god.
bracket. All right, and we're back at the bracket here. Vesa going on, moving on as our finalist here, our second finalist, securing his playoff slot in a pretty well played match by him. Got to give it to him. I mean, you thought that Bolas was going to have trouble in the early game tweaking, and it kind of felt
Hmm.
like that kind of did happen. Uh, White Knight, Darkbender, great tools, but when you get hit with a Dagger Storm, when you're hit with two globals on the opposite side here, they're gonna hurt. They're gonna hurt,
Right.
and I think we definitely saw that on display here, especially with that Luminaris played defensively. That was kind of the deal sealer to me.
Right. If he was able to get that Lumi off more offensively, being able to snipe off, either the armory, the rat hovel, or the blacksmith, or all three, or just two of the three, I
Hmm.
think it could have been a lot, it could have been a different game for Bolas. It's unfortunate that he had to use that defensively and kind of open up to a Mordok. Uh, Now, I'm not sure if you heard this, Red, but Bolas said after the match concluded that he had two blue fire bolts in his hand when that Mordok hit. And he decided to play a Mordok of his own, thinking that, there's no way combinations of, red, yellow, red, green, that Mordok is going to be able to any of his units or castle, nevertheless.
Right.
Uh, which surprises me because I got to imagine that you know that scope is probably in this deck.
Somewhere.
And the way that, Vesavin positioned his Mordok, not as threatening as it could have been, that had to give off some, red flags. And then also, there was really no units outside of that one, I think it was a rat, that was threatening castle that he was able to hit the Mordok with. Um, so you know that after your turn ends, Vesa is going to push something towards your castle, and you're able to play that Mordok next turn. My question is, why didn't he just immediately take out that Mordok when it popped up? Maybe he was thinking that, I'll get a Mordok of my own, I'll spawn a unit, and then next turn I can use the blue fire bolts maybe on the armory, the blacksmith,
I mean,
or the rat hovel
I
and
think
take that out.
I think it was very possible for him to do that. I think, unfortunately, though, the way he executed it was a bit poor. The wraith spawn that happened,
Hmm.
uh, it was out of position. It couldn't
Right.
really do anything big. Like, the wraith pull was huge. It was big. It was needed because then we could maybe set up for like Mordok getting hit by the dragon's fire and clearing off a lot of the rest of the board here. But I think just the execution of that was just a little bit off, leading to the events that happened. And again, uh, the scope you mentioned as being, I think, a one-off, right, for the deck.
Right. Yeah, the
Coming up at that,
single
coming out at
the
that
single scope.
specific time, I think in Bolas's mind was just like, yeah, I don't think he's got it. He's bluffing. There's no way. It was sort of like, again, a very heat of the moment decision that I think just backfired. He took the gamble. It didn't work, which is unfortunate. It happens. It happens for players. It happens for all of us.
Right.
So it's just a shame to see that that's going to be the way that Bolas ends off the season. But I mean, hey, uh, getting to round two, earning his stripes here, but not going all the way here. As our final looks to be Vesa VJ. Again, both players making it to the playoffs here. This match will be for seeding purposes, see who gets what seed. But going into it, how are we looking on this one? It's Jay's amalgamation versus Vase's amalgamation. I mean, both these decks aren't exactly clear, meta-defined strategies right now. Uh,
Hmm.
what are you expecting from this type of matchup with this caliber of player?
I'm giving the advantage to JJ. Not only is it my favorite deck, but
Of
I feel
course.
like he just has a little bit more. power behind his cards. I mean, he has those freezing pillars, and freezing pillars are so annoying
Hmm.
to deal with. And then if you look at Vasavin's deck, his only, real way to remove those, he's got one copy of Witch Bolt, three copies of Blue Fire Bolts. Um, the question is he going to be able to draw those? And at that point, you're already setting yourself up for a Lightning Blade. Um, I mean, and you got, your Serpent Witches are going to be your key here. That's going to be the key in this game. We saw how deadly it was in the Bolas game. You saw how crucial it was to have that 2/7, just that big heal unit, being able to, re rejuvenize your hand. Um, but I just think coming down to it, I think Jay's deck is a little bit better, has a little bit more weapons, has a little bit more power. And
All
so
right.
I'm giving the advantage to Jay.
All right. Sounds good. As much as I support Vesa, as much as I love the guy, I think I might have to lean into your argument as well here. I think it just makes sense. I would like to see some maybe like hard hitting, aggressive action from Vasavan, like he kind of did in his last
Right.
game. Maybe that hopefully can turn the tide. But again, it's a matter of what he pulls in the cards here. It's a matter, it's all in the cards. It's just all in the cards. So with that, we might as well just get into it, huh? Let's just.
Let's see it.
All right, folks. Our final for Raka Rumble, Vasavan VJ, coming up right now. And we have arrived at the finals, Tweakin. After everything we've been through in this tournament, we are now at the finals. Good news is that they're both making it to the finals, as you mentioned before, or playoffs. But who will win? What are your predictions going into the matchup here? Blue, yellow, green, red.
Uh, I'm gonna say like the last game. I think this favors Arm towards the later match, but we saw how effective Vesavin's Serpent Witches are. And let's not forget the Scope Mordock. We're not looking the best with Arm's initial hand. Now we do have some, early here with the Priest and Armory if we're able to somehow keep some of the units on the deck. You don't like to see that pervasive and having to essentially sack a blacksmith
Especially with a priest in
early on.
hand, lumberjack and priest to further punish that play. Oh no. Yep, and then we're gonna follow probably priest. You probably don't have to be as aggressive with it. Yeah, you can use something like this here, where it's still threatening castle here. Yeah, already
Hmm.
off to a rough start though for Vesa. I'm hoping flamestorms are in the sideboard or something, cause oh, this is not good.
It's
This
not
is
good, but I mean, on Arm's side, it's not looking the best either. We just have Armory. Not the Flying Books is good. I'd much rather.
well,
No, no, no,
we
that's my
shotgun the armory. We shotgun
Yeah,
the
yeah,
armory.
yeah. Keep the pressure up. We can always play books next turn because I doubt that Vestment's going to be able to take out these two units. With keeping some unit on the board, we might
Dragon's
see a
fire.
Serpent. I
No,
think
Minotaur. Minotaur's
that's
the card.
yeah.
Yeah. Would have been funny to see Dragonfire pop, but I mean, it would have made us probably cry inside a little bit here. The pillar for a follow-up draw. An interesting pull here. We are going to go with books, though, over the pillar. Makes sense here. And then, of course, Lumberjacks bang in the back. Leaving Castle open for Vase to take a swing with Minotaur here. Not sure how smart that was. I guess we do have the Arbiter,
Fine
so we're
because
not...
we have the Arbiter here, and we can always
Yeah.
freezing pillar. Hopefully we can keep this books alive. Um,
Well, we do lose the Armory in the process, but again, not the worst.
I think I'd much rather have taken out the books if I was Vestmans. Yes, the armory is good, but just looking at the
You want to
hand
keep that
size right now,
advantage. Yeah.
you want to keep that advantage. Um,
Please somebody has something that
but
can
I get
take
it.
the
I get it.
Lumberjack, though.
You don't have any heals. You're up against heals. Yeah, and you're up against yellow blue. I could only assume that Vestmans probably thinking
Oh,
he's
no.
gonna get the card at hand. Oh my God, the reclaim. Oh my God.
This is the second time he's gonna reclaim someone's rat hovel in this
Oh
fucking
my
tournament.
God.
No. I mean, is there a better play here? Does it? I feel like you can hold the freezing pillar, get away with the reclaim, and then rush faithful. You're putting more pressure on Vasas, and his deck isn't super equipped to do this, to deal with that. So that seems like the correct play. This is just
But you just got
brutal.
to ask yourself, what's more, deadly, rat hovel or an armory? Because that's only what you're using the reclaim for. Um,
Who says we're going to draw an armory this game, though, for Vaesive? And, this might
that's
be the
true.
opportunity to actually use the reclaim here. And you're also spawning units. We saw how effective the rat stealing was in Jay's previous matchup here, using that lightning blade to take out the Darkbender. And, yeah, he's going to
Hmm
go for it again here, which is, it feels like the correct play here, especially since you have enough gold to, again, rush the Drake here, which we are seeing as well. This is going to put
I'm sure
Vaesive in
that's
a
annoying.
very difficult situation here.
That's super annoying for Vespa because now you have to waste an attack on the rat hovel. Unless you say screw it, we'll just have rats spawn back here. Uh,
Again, though, it's a pretty risky play to make.
hmm Because a lightning blade is lurking somewhere in Arm's deck, and it's just a question of when. No,
Well, I mean, we are going to take out the hovel, but allowing another five. Oh, and we don't move for chain. Oh, we don't move for chain.
uh-oh.
Please don't let him pick up. Okay. No L blade. No L blade. But still, 5 damage coming into face here, and with the Arbiter lurking in the back, that's nearly lethal, if not already. This is going to be very. This is going to be difficult. Difficult
And
indeed.
I mean, do you freezing pillar as well?
I mean, you're not in the ideal spot to hit both of them. You are gonna hit the Minotaur though.
Mhm.
It looks like, and yeah, that might do it. I'm not entirely sure Vase has got options to deal with. I mean, he has to take out at least one of these 3 attackers. Hopefully the Drake as well. He's got 7 gold. He has the funds to do it, but
And he'll get another hopefully cheap ban. I think he has a banshee from. I think he got a banshee from the unit. So I mean, we can take out the Drake, and we can take. Oh, he's gonna go with an armory. That is that's bold. That was a bold move, and I
I
think that was a no.
the Banshee can pop the Drake, but he has no way to get to the books, which is also just lethal at that point.
And then we got arbiters to end the game because Monk can come in. I mean, Arm's gonna be able to get one more hit onto the castle, putting Vaesiman down to 2, unless he has a. Yeah, no. Uh, no, that's game because books can just fly over the castle
Yeah.
and in the back. That's game.
Yeah, that is game. A quick one here, but effective for Jay, doing what he needed to do here. Uh, it was rough. It was rough for Vesa. I feel like from the beginning, it just felt like he wasn't making effective trades and plays here. But uh, man,
Yeah,
you
it's
just
never
hate
a
to
good
see it.
sight when you have to play a blacksmith early and just sack it like that. That's a sign of my hand is complete shit. Um, Hopefully it can pick up soon. And unfortunately it didn't. I would have loved to see a Serpent Witch. I think a Serpent Witch in that spot would have done wonders. Um, with that 7 health and being able to stun and kind of stop that initial push. But the damage was already done at that point. Then we had Arbiters, we had a Yarm, we had Craxus, so it was
Right.
just unfortunate.
Well, I mean, the benefit for these both players here, I guess, going into it now, is that they both technically have made playoffs. It's not like this was for the spot. But yeah, it looks like Jay is going to have that quote unquote beneficial seeding. We'll explain that more when we get into the actual playoffs, which will start to come out now soon in their own individual matches. We'll do some more explanation on that when we get there. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this was a great Raka Rumble. Fantastic event here. We'll go ahead and look to the bracket here to close this out here. But overall, an incredible bracket of action, Tweakin.
I was here for it. I was here for it. Yeah, I loved it. Quick shout out to all the players who unfortunately didn't make the playoffs. It was a great season, great decks, great competition, and hopefully they can bring in some more of that energy in cards and castles too.
Giving things away. All right, Tweakin, we did it. The Raka Rumble. It has been completed. It has been finished, and we have our winner. Triple J wins Raka Rumble 2021 in a strong performance. I mean, granted, the first round bye made things a little bit easier, but I mean, certainly winning off 2 games against, I mean, players of the caliber of the players he went up against, you gotta hand it to him. He did some good work here. Good work indeed. But I mean, I will say I felt bad. Vaesiven really didn't feel like he was, finding his footing in this matchup here. from even in the early start, all those unoptimal trades that he had to make here, the
Hmm.
blacksmith, the Minotaur coming out, the Southport captain making a trade into Priest, things that you just really don't want to see when you're Vaceven. It just all happened to happen in this very important matchup.
Right. And I feel like he needed a Serpent Witch out there. He needed something with that would last multiple turns
Hmm.
to able to stop Jay's initial push, which is weird because normally in blue yellow, you're usually not the one being the aggressor until towards, mid to late game. But in this matchup, Jay said, "Screw it. I got the cards early. I'm going for it. Vasevic doesn't have anything for me. He's sacking his blacksmiths. So I'm going all in. And, if he somehow is able to defend this push, I'll come back and I'll regain myself. But we saw how deadly the freeze and pillar was, being able to not only freeze off the Minotaur, but kind of, lock down all those units south of the castle, while
Right.
all of the initial push is north of the making evasive and choose between freeing his Minotaur or just keeping that there and dealing with the units up top. We also saw I'm sure you want to comment on this, the
Oh
Soul
my
Reclaim
god.
card make an
Again.
appearance again.
Oh my god.
And also claiming another rat hovel.
It's so wild, right? That reclaim. I mean, reclaim is a card that people have sporadically used, but I feel like not all of them have been used as effectively as it's been in these last two games for Jay. It's wild to me. It's absolutely wild that the hovel has gotten that much value.
Hmm.
Reclaiming a hovel has gotten that much value in these games. It's so weird. You don't think it happens, but now here we are, Jay winning Raka Rumble off of some reclaims. It's so weird.
We get to see more reclaims now, though.
Oh,
So
we
that's the
do.
benefit.
We do. I mean, speaking of which, I mean, we might as well get into it here, unless you have anything else to say on that finals. I mean, again, valiant performance for both these guys. Excited to see what they can do in playoffs and maybe, swing this around. Hopefully,
They
Vesa
might
can
even,
sneak in, maybe even win the thing.
yeah, they might, we might see a rematch here between Jay and Vasavan,
They've got some tough
in the
competition
actual.
to go through though, too, before
Oh
then.
yeah, oh yeah. So they got their work cut out for them, but I'm excited. Now we get to see the main event, the top players, and we have our underdogs with JJ and Vasavan showing out in their castle, their realm against the top players of the season. And I'm sure we want to have a little conversation about how that bracket's going to go and what can we expect from that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, let's go ahead and bring that up here. I am going to switch this up here. So let's go ahead and actually give ourselves some time here. Transferring you guys over to the brain event. Let's see how the playoff bracket looks after the Raka Rumble has concluded. And with that, folks, we arrive at our playoffs bracket, now filled in thanks to the completion of the Raka Rumble. And Tweakin, this is quite a lineup we have. If you asked me to predict who would be seeing in the playoffs at the beginning of the year, some of these names would not have been here, in my honest opinion. But it's certainly exciting to see where we've come with the season progression, and now finally culminating into a playoffs type bracket. It's exciting stuff.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Da and Ooge did their thing throughout the season, and well deserved the number one and number two seed. But just taking a look at, I mean, there really isn't, you know, a bad player in the mix. I mean, yes, Vasavan and JJ won their spot through the Raka Rumble, but I mean, they clean swept through that entire playoffs. So they are coming into this strong. They have, they're already coming off a couple of games, so morale is high. Uh, that's kind of their advantage going into this. Some of these players like Da and Ooge and Allen and Banana, they didn't get that benefit of playing a couple matches before the actual playoffs.
Right.
So maybe that might hurt them.
Maybe. You definitely bring up a good point there. Although, I mean, definitely giving an advantage to Uj and DA going into the more finals end of it here. Only have to win
Mm-hmm.
about 3 matches do those two have to, respectively, to just win the entire thing. So, I'm very interested to see if maybe one of our, back end round one players can make it all the way through. But certainly going to be a challenge regardless. Because, like you said, not a bad player in the lineup here. Every match, sure to have a lot of pressure, a lot of decision making, and it's just going to be a fantastic best of five sets all around. And that is right. I guess, well, we would have probably explained this later on, but these are best of fives in our playoff set here. So each player has to win 3 games to win their matchup to then move on and then potentially face another best of five. You kind of get where I'm going here. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
much more intense, a much more grueling process for you to actually win the entirety of Casting Conflict Season 2. And I'm curious to see who is going to be the one to do that.
Right, and I actually do like, the 5 game series. We're trying to take the RNG out as much as possible in a game that, is probably based around RNG, just so we can truly tell that the players at the end of the playoffs truly deserve to be there because of their play, because of their deck, not because they high rolled 2 games out of the 3 games and managed to win, and their opponent low rolled. So I extremely like that we increase the amount of games. It's gonna be better for our viewers. It's gonna be better for us commentating. It's gonna be better for the players. We're gonna see a lot of new decks. We're gonna see a lot of plays, a lot of funky things happening. Hopefully, let me ask you this: out of all these players here, who do you think is the favorite to take home the crown? And before that, who do you think is going to be in the finals? Let's get that prediction out of the way.
All
Let's
right,
get
we're
our
take we're
few
taking this
finalists.
now. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Listen, I definitely think Uj is showing up in finals regardless.
Hmm.
He's just had too strong of a season to not be able to just make that. His
Right.
opponent on the other side, though, very curious here. You've got strong options in, J and DA. I don't know if Allen will make it all the way because of his, similar deck choice, his lack of regular play. I think that's going to hurt him and may not help him into the finals. So either a toss-up between DA or J, in my opinion here, maybe more
Hmm.
so on DA because he has that, first round bye and a little more knowledge over J, just about the game in general. He's a little more, uh, you know, I guess what's the word? He's a little bit brighter in that sense. Not to say that Jay
Right.
is dumb, but I think DA has got a bigger brain that is going to help him get to the finals.
Okay. Okay. I agree with you on Ooge. I think looking at the bracket and the players where they are, I think Ooge, not tossing wrenches at all the players here, but I just think Ooge compared to the other 2 players and their deck choices, I think has an easier way to the finals than
Hmm.
DA does. I mean, with Banana's choice of dinos, it's really hit or miss. Uh, so it's hard for me to say that he can win 2 sets uh, with the Dino decks. I feel like he can win a couple of games with it, but to say that he's gonna win 6 matches, uh, that's tough for me. And Vasaven, uh, he's a great player. Now he did struggle early in the season, but he did change up his deck, and he's been having some late success with it.
Hmm.
However, Ooge has just been on fire this entire season, so it's hard for me not to pick Ooge as a favorite here. Also having that first round bye, and then going up towards the top of the bracket, DA also has been on fire this season. But my love for Viking Crusaders. It has a warm spot in my heart, so I am picking Jay,
All right.
the unlikely hero of the story, make it through the Raka Rumble, and he's going to make it to the finals to face Ooge for the top spot.
Listen, are we going to see those reclaims play a huge part? Because both Allen and DA, in a way, have a couple buildings as key points in their deck. You've got Allen with the Temple and the Hovel, DA with the double spawner action of Hovel and Altar. You never know. You never know if that could sneak by. But okay, I like the bold prediction out of you for this one, Tweak, and I do appreciate that. But yeah, certainly set to be a great line of action. Is there anything else that you want to put out there before I close this out, though? Because I think this has been a long video for our viewers.
Yeah, for the viewers at home, we would love to see your predictions. So leave it in the comments. Who do you think will make it to the finals? And if you want to be bold, who do you think is going to take home the crown? Just let us know in the comments.
All right, you heard the man. Leave them in the comments. And with that being said, folks, if you haven't already done so, be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you're new or haven't done so already. The best way that you can show support here to the show and to the channel is by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. But for Tweakin' and myself, that's going to do it for now. So until next time, guys, stay gaming.